Hello, my name is Evelina Silveira with Diversity at Work Communications Training. That's www.diversityatworkcommunications.com. And I'm here to talk to you about my favorite subject, and that's politics and Canadian politics. And I wish actually politics weren't so interesting. I wish actually they would go back to the way they were a long time ago. Well, it wasn't all that long ago where, let's say 5, 6 years ago, where it didn't really matter what party got into power, that life seemed to be just about the same either way. But under Justin Trudeau's government, things have changed quite a bit, I would say. And I have been really following him, and I've been following him quite closely, and I don't mean physically. I'm talking about I'm talking media wise and so forth, and really trying to see if I could find some redeeming qualities about Justin Trudeau during this pandemic. And I was really looking for something. I was really hoping that something would happen, that I was keeping an open mind that maybe he might change. I might change my opinion about him during this pandemic. I was open to that. However, actually, he just cemented my ideas, the idea that I have of him as being a very ineffective leader. And I want to talk about that in a few ways. And first of all, I want to say, and I've mentioned this before, that I don't have so much of a problem with liberals. And in fact, I endorse a lot of liberal ideas. But I do have a problem with the Justin Trudeau government because they don't act like liberals. They act like something quite different. But let's start off with the fact that Justin Trudeau wanted to enact this emergency act whereby all of the federal government would have these overreaching powers, that they could seize property, they could do all kinds of things, and just have the power to do that without getting consultation from the premiers. This was a very overreaching kind of power. And I am so glad that all premiers said that it was unnecessary, because this is not the person that I would want to give a lot of power to, because we've already seen a number of instances where he's tried to stifle discussion, stifle independent media, and so forth. And so this is not somebody who I would feel comfortable giving them any more power. Let's also talk about, during this pandemic, there's all kinds of money, costs in this and so forth. Why have we been given a carbon tax? We are already suffering. Most people are suffering in some way. And to add insult to injury, we get an additional carbon tax on April the 1st. Was that some form of celebration of the pandemic? I don't know. But a leader that would have a conscience would, A, first of all, not have a carbon tax, and B, certainly not be implementing one during this time of incredible financial upheaval for most families. Then we have to add the fact that all the parliamentarians received an increase. Why would somebody give? Why would the Liberal government introduce a salary increase at a time like this, when we are spending like crazy? It makes no sense to me. Again, to me, it lacks empathy, it lacks sensitivity, it's totally inappropriate. As millions of people are losing their jobs, Justin Trudeau decides that he wants to have a raise and spend more time more time away from Canadians during this pandemic. We don't see a lot of him, and he certainly hasn't been sick. So it's just another more money at doing nothing. Okay. Then, I mean, there's a reason why that hashtag coward of the cottage is trending, because we don't see him. He only comes out every so often, and that's just to deliver a message about money. And that's the other thing I want to mention about this. Have you noticed how it seems so carefully scripted that Justin Trudeau's primary function throughout this is just to make announcements about money? But whenever it is something about adding a restriction, he's really uncomfortable with doing that. He's really uncomfortable about closing off the borders, really uncomfortable about stopping flights, about closing off the illegal border, all of those things. Now, a leader has to make decisions, and Justin Trudeau just just decides to not make them, or he refuses to make them, often because of fears of political correctness or being politically incorrect. And rather than looking at the whole picture of the primary function of the federal government should be to secure our borders and to make Canadians safe. There's nothing discriminatory about that. That's in fact what every country that I have been hearing about has been doing. And I should tell you that one of the other things I do is I teach online. I teach English online. And so I'm privy to the different measures that countries have been taking all around the world. And they've been securing the borders. They have been stopping flights. And nobody is calling them xenophobic. Nobody's calling them racist. And so I don't know where this is coming from. Doing that is not racist. It's about being prudent. It's about containing a virus so that it doesn't spread, so that more of your citizens are not harmed in any way. There's reducing the number of deaths, reducing the impact on the economy. It makes a lot of sense. But that's a decision that a leader has to make, and he refuses to do that. So instead, what you start to see is the premiers doing their own thing. And thankfully, there's a lot of leadership happening there, and people rolling up their sleeves and getting their hands dirty. And a shout out to Doug Ford, who a lot of people have criticized over the years and so forth. But thank goodness that he's leading Ontario right now. And that's a man who's rolling up his sleeves in a real way, and not like Justin Trudeau, who rolls up his sleeves to pretend that he's doing some work, but he's never done any probably physical work ever. So thank you, Doug Ford, and Premier Doug Ford, and Minister Christine Elliott, for all of your hard work during these times, and the other ministers who have shown true leadership. The other thing I find very disturbing for me, and going back to how I like to intersect diversity within Canadian politics, is this idea that Justin Trudeau is some feminist, and that he really likes to promote women and let women shine and so forth. Well, to me, you know what? I consistently see a man who delegates all of his responsibilities while he has a break. And we have seen this already before, and I've talked about this in other videos. have about 2 or 3 videos now about how Justin Trudeau is a fake feminist. We saw it when Justin Trudeau was in Parliament in the House of Commons before, and Minister Bardish Chager, I believe her role was a parliamentary secretary. she would often respond to his questions when the questions were directed at him, and he would be playing on his phone or doing something childish like that. But now things are a little bit different. Now we have a deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, who basically has had conveniently all of this thrown at her now. So while Justin is vacationing, it would seem, in his cottage or whatever, and saying that he has to quarantine himself even though he doesn't have any apparent illness, Chrystia Freeland is basically our prime minister, and being put in the position to answer a lot of difficult questions, and I might add, and not the best, and not giving very good answers. And then he's placed Patty Hadju as the health minister, who again is not somebody who has expertise in this background, in this area. So he has essentially, if you can imagine a workplace where somebody makes you do all your boss makes you do all the dirty work, and then and then all of a sudden he comes out from nowhere and just hands people raises so that he looks like the good guy and you look like the bad guy. I don't see any difference here. I see a man who wants to look like he's, I don't know, Santa Claus giving out presents to everybody, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to close down the airports. He doesn't want to close down the borders. He doesn't want to tell people that we might need to involve the army, that you have to wear a mask, or to actually get us some masks, for God's sakes. We wear the masks, and why are we having such a hard time getting masks? I mean, that should have been number one. The other thing about leadership that he's lacking in is he refuses to accept good information to make his decisions. I would consider intelligence information from the Army to be solid information. And even before this was talked about, like this whole issue about the Army having intelligence information about this Wuhan virus back in January, we already started to see this being discussed on Twitter even before it got to the mainstream media. So he knew about this and he didn't do anything about it. So that is not leadership to me. When you have people at the top and you don't trust them, and this is intelligence information, and as a result of your procrastination, lives can be lost, the economy is damaged, and then you want to just emerge as I said before, like a Santa Claus handing out checks. That is irresponsible. And if you're not going to respect the information that comes to you from senior employees, then what is your source of information? What is it based on? And of course, we're starting to see there's some talk on Twitter that there's a lot more to this Wuhan virus and coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, and that there could have been there's some serious connections there, and I don't think they're completely conspiracy theories either that need to be investigated a little bit more. Right. Okay. So I would like to see I would like to see a prime minister that actually takes real leadership, but I don't think this is going to happen. But what I do see are pockets of people and different politicians who are trying to take a leadership role here, and thank goodness for that. But to me, handing out checks and having new programs, and so far I'm not seeing how I fit into many of those programs, or I find frankly I find people with incorporated businesses like myself have been the last on the list, and not a lot happening there for small businesses. Yet teenagers who had part-time job last year somehow get like an automatic $2,000. There's something really wrong with this. But I have to say, this is again just another slap in the face from the federal government to small businesses. My name is Evelina Silveira, and I'm from Diversity at Work Communications Training. If you'd like to learn more about what I do or get in touch with me for some public speaking event or training, please get in touch with me at www.diversityatworkcommunicationstraining.com or Evelina at diversityatworkcommunications.com, or my phone number is 519-659-4777. I love talking about diversity and politics. I wish you a good day, and I wish you and your family to be safe and healthy during this very, very troubling time. Thank you.